Sometimes called the eighth wonder of the world, the Sphinx of Egypt is an essential symbol of antiquity. This impressive construction gives us an invaluable perspective on the past. Although researched for hundreds of years, the monument raises questions to which no one has found a satisfactory answer. Numerous theories have been advanced about it, but even now it is not known for sure for what purpose it was built. Some of the most notorious archaeologists in the Western world have not had the chance to see the Sphinx of Egypt in its entirely form. In 1798, when they participated in the famous expedition from Egypt, Napoleon Bonaparte and the archaeologists he was accompanied by saw only the head of the huge monument. The rest was buried in the sand. The body of the Sphinx was exposed for the first time thanks to the ambition of a French engineer named Émile Bourais. While others had given up the idea, Bourais spent more than a decade removing the huge amount of sand around the ancient structure. Thus, thanks to him, in 1936, the world was able to admire the Sphinx of Egypt in all its splendor. The ancient monument was carved from a single block of limestone. It is 239 feet long and 65 feet high. Due to the damage suffered over the millennia, its original shape had to be partially restored with stone blocks. It would be too little to say that the Sphinx of Egypt is an amazing architectural achievement. It is very hard to believe that the magnificent structure was made by simple people, such as the ancient Egyptians. This led some researchers to claim that the Sphinx and the pyramids were built with the help of beings who mastered advanced technologies. Whether it was beings from other planets or a civilization lost in the mists of time, the way the Sphinx of Egypt was built is a subject worth researching. The statue must have been of great importance to those who built it. However, there are no inscriptions telling us who is responsible for building the Sphinx, what its purpose was, and especially when it was built. Most historians and Egyptologists claim that Pharaoh Khafre ordered the construction of the monument. This is due to some inscriptions carved on a stone tablet between the front paws of the Sphinx. Moreover, most researchers believe that the image of the Sphinx is that of Pharaoh Khafre. This theory is still the most widespread, although other research has shown that this assumption is inaccurate. The tablet between the Sphinx's paws does not specify who built the Sphinx, it only names the one responsible for its installation. Most of Egypt's vast desert is still unexplored. Hundreds of structures could be buried under the sand, and some researchers claim that there is a possibility of discovering a second structure similar to the Great Sphinx. Authors and researchers Jerry Cannon and Malcolm Hutton are among those who believe this. Cannon and Hutton mention that in all ancient descriptions the Sphinx of Egypt is depicted with a pair. Researchers claim that this is an indication of a second Sphinx, which is located near the pyramids of Giza. As I have already mentioned, the tablet between the Sphinx's paws does not say who built the structure. But a line on this tablet makes us think, "I've been here since the beginning of time." This beginning of time is known as Zep Tepi. According to ancient Egyptian writings, Zep Tepi was an age when the gods walked among men. Of course, conservative historians claim that Zep Tepi is just a legend. However, others believe that this era may have been real. One such researcher is Robert Bauval. He spent decades studying the Sphinx of Egypt, its origins and purpose or significance. Bauval's theory is known as the Orion correlation theory. It says that the pyramids and the Sphinx had a connection with the belt of the constellation Orion and that they are part of a representation of it on Earth. Moreover, Bauval discovered that in 10,450 BC, the alignment between the constellation Orion and the monuments on the Giza Plateau would have been perfect. Interestingly, this theory claims that the Sphinx in Egypt is at least 12,500 years old, which is much longer than conservative historians claim. Conservative researchers claim that the monument was built around 2500 BC. But there is evidence and research that undoubtedly supports Robert Bauval's theory. One researcher who has done consistent research in this direction is geologist Robert Schoch. He claims that the erosion of water on the sides of the Sphinx helps us determine its true age. According to Schoch, this erosion is the result of thousands of years of regular and consistent rainfall. Such rains have not fallen in Egypt for 7,000 to 12,000 years. If this is the case, then the Sphinx would be 12,000 years old, if not older. If conservative historians claim that the face of the Sphinx is that of Khafre, others claim that the original face was not human at all. Some theories say that it was the face of a lion, representing the sign from the zodiac. However, there are no documents or art objects in which lions have such a status in ancient Egypt. Also, the animal's posture is not characteristic of a lion. The flat back and posture of the Egyptian Sphinx have more in common with the appearance of a dog. Is it possible that the Sphinx was the representation of the dog god Anubis, later changed? Although the idea is considered exaggerated by some, many researchers have investigated theories that say that under the Sphinx is a room with documents. However, let's not imagine the papers scattered on the floor, but rather walls and tablets with inscriptions. Legend says that the document room contains esoteric information and prehistoric calendars that go back to the beginning of time. Many attribute the preservation of these documents to the survivors of Atlantis, who would have migrated and settled in Egypt. According to some theories, the Atlanteans would have stored here precious information about a lost world. The mystic Edgar Cayce claims to have detailed information about the document room, but many do not believe either Cayce's words or his mystical abilities. Others, however, say his predictions are accurate. We can only find out if Cayce is right about the Sphinx, only if we inspect the place. In 1997, Joe Jahoda and Dr. Joseph Shaw conducted seismological studies that indicated that there was an empty space under the monument, exactly where Cayce had stated that the document room was located. Moreover, the space did not seem to have been created naturally. Jahoda and Shaw asked the Egyptian authorities for permission to excavate the area, but were not granted. Although there were other teams that made similar requests, they also faced the same refusal. Although it is not clear who built the Sphinx or why, it is clear that the Sphinx of Egypt did not reveal all its secrets, and maybe in the future we will have all our questions answered about the subject. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of Mythos, the Historian. And if you really did enjoy it, please like the video. And if you look forward for new videos on our channel, please subscribe and click on the bell to be notified when new videos arrive.